number 99. And if he's going to check the box on career win number 1, he might have to go through JBMotorsports, a good group of drivers right here. Guy that won the championship, Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, Raja Caruth back in the 88 this weekend. 50 minutes of practice, followed by qualifying. Our coverage tomorrow on CW, 2:30 Eastern Time. Welcome in, everybody, with Parker Kligerman, Jamie McMurray. I'm Adam Alexander. Here we go at the paperclip, a half mile. There will be lots of aggression tomorrow. Much more tame, I'm sure, for practice and qualifying here today.
Definitely, as they're starting to work in the tires and the brakes in these cars as you first go out. Martinsville's funny like that. Jamie, often stock cars fastest on his first lap, but a short tracks like this, sometimes you take the first lap or so in practice. Just get everything up to temp. One thing to note, it's about 80 degrees today.
It's not going to be that tomorrow.
Not going to be that way tomorrow, and this place is highly temperature sensitive. It's so temperature sensitive that teams will literally look and try to guess what that temp is going to be, because it's just a 20-degree temp difference, and with the tiny increments of difference here in how the car handles, it means you'll come with a completely different setup, and that's practice in a colder day tomorrow race.
Yeah, interesting to see all these guys rolling out immediately. The Whelen Modifieds have been on the track. They just had their practice and qualifying before this, and having 50 minutes of practice, one set of tires. I would think these guys would want to wait just a little bit. Looks like Justin just went out to get the brakes maybe a little bit warm.
That's an installation lap, like they do in
Parker.
IndyCar.
No, it's not.
Well, but,
it's not.
But hey, you referenced the weather, and that's something we should bring up. We're on 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
And maybe this is why we're seeing some guys go out. I don't know. But we know that this session, there was some jeopardy of getting it in, because there is a storm that's going to move through a cold front, and we do anticipate there could be some rain. So with that, NASCAR said, let's move up practice 10 minutes, and let's make sure we complete our schedules so we can get everything in. Modified race here tonight. Weather looks pretty good tomorrow, although, as we said, it's going to be much cooler. 3 minutes into the session, Cory Day out in the 17. What a great start for him. Made his debut here at Martinsville 1 year ago.
Yeah, he got off to a great start throughout the year. Obviously, a little bit of controversy surrounding Cory Day, and Rick Hendricks sat him down and had a discussion and told him that's not how they were going to do it, and he has slowly been able to continue those same results, and I don't think he's put a scratch on that car since that discussion, and continues to have great performance. I think back to Vegas, thought he maybe was going to get his first win, faded kind of right at the end, but it's been really impressive to watch what he's been able to do.
Series leading 5 straight top 10s. Like,
Series leading.
Would you have thought that just some of those run-ins we saw earlier this year? But he has not lacked speed whatsoever in that 17, and that's been really impressive to me. Just his speed, and as you mentioned, just cleaning it up a little bit, and sure enough, the results follow from having speed and keeping it clean.
Stat dropper, Parker Kligerman.
I should probably walk off at this point.
Cory Day, quickest so far in practice. Let's hear from our pit reporter. Say good afternoon to Kim Kuhn. How are you, Kim?
I'm good, Adam, and the 17 team is good too, because they were very excited about this weekend, because second to Bristol, Martinsville is the track where Cory has the most experience on a paved oval. 2 starts in this series, 2 truck starts, an ARCA start, and crew chief Adam Moll told me it's nice to come to a place where Cory ran both races last year and has a lot of experience, that being relative, a lot of experience for Cory, but he said it's less of him telling Cory what the Cup guys were feeling in the car, and more of him really getting to go to his own notebook. And he told us, remember, during that preseason media day, he really took the time during the offseason to digest all of the tracks he went to, and then kind of apply what he's learning to the tracks as he's returning to them each time this year.
I'm sure he's starting to create an expectation of success too, because of that run of top 10s that they're on. Here's a guy that needs a shot in the arm and might be coming to a track where that will be provided. Harrison Burton won here 2020, new team this year, Sam Hunt Racing. They have faced plenty of issues, just a lot of challenges for this group out of the gates in 2026. But I will say this, good track for him, his teammate Dean Thompson, top 10 both races here a year ago. So maybe this is the weekend where SHR really gets it going in the right direction.
And they need it. 26th and 24th in points right now. It's been kind of a disastrous start for Sam Hunt Racing, and with all the expectation that they had having Harrison Burton come over there and the success he had at AM Racing last year, and I think a lot of us from the outside even felt like this is them taking that next step forward it has not been the start that they've wanted, and they truly need good runs, and hopefully this weekend is the one to get that ball moving in the right direction.
From 24 to 25, Harrison Burton, Nick Sanchez, a couple of drivers that impressed a year ago, made the playoffs, changing teams in the offseason. And, you know, Sanchez started here in 2022, fresh off an ARCA championship, finished 7th. That's his only top 10 on a short track in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Jamie.
Yeah, I had the highlight of 3rd at Atlanta earlier this year, and watching that car on entry, it is a little bit evil on the brakes. It's got a little bit of a death wiggle on the entry to both ends, and I think back, did a little pit strategy here the last time we were in Martinsville, tried to stay out. Did not work out perfect for him, but we'll see a little bit of that tomorrow night as well. People just trying to, if you're not having a great night, get off strategy and see if you can make something happen.
And strategy will be a complete rotation here tomorrow. It's always the case. Lots of cautions and a lot of give and take, and we know we'll talk about that tomorrow. Here's the 0, Garrett Smithley. Cool, they had the throwback to Johnny Davis last week at Darlington.
And they've kind of done another throwback here. You might notice, if you're a bit of a computer nerd or just someone who was on computers 20 years ago, look at this. This is Clippy. You remember from Microsoft Word?
I do not.
You remember him?
I'm out.
You
yeah,
guys, you're both a little too old. This was for all of us that were in grade school back in the early mid-2000s. When you went on there onto Microsoft Word, you had Clippy, who was kind of helping you out to figure things, and so he's on this race car. The artist who drew Clippy has been reached out to Garrett and sort of interacted with him on social media, so cool to see. It's kind of fun. They're really bringing the fun paint schemes.
I think it's probably super fun if you remember that too. Like, for you, like,
I mean, YouTube basically being as, you know, how do I say this?
Sophisticated.
Old, as you are, it's not fun, but for my generation.
Yeah.
That 0 popped up on the screen. Parker got on the edge of his seat. He was ready to go.
I like, they even have on the back there, they have the old prompts you get. It says, would you like to pass me? And the only 2 options are no and no.
That's a good idea.
21, Austin Hill won here in the springtime, Martinsville a year ago. Let's get a report there from Dylan Welch. What's happening, Dylan?
Hey, Adam. Well, this is a team, like many, I'm sure, that are glad that they are getting some practice laps before this weather rolls in. So you remember they did win here in the spring, and they raced well. And Austin said it wasn't a winning car, but top 5 car for sure. And they learned a lot in that race. They were always struggling last year to kind of get the car to turn in the rubber, and they felt like they did that well here in the spring. But then they came back in the fall, and RCR as a whole was not good. The 21 was really not good, and Jesse Love in the 2, if you remember, was just flat out bad, and they didn't really understand why. So that prompted a short track overhaul in the offseason for RCR. They were coming to these races last year, the short track races with intermediate cars. They have built purpose-built short track cars for this year, and this is the debut of the first one for he and Jesse Love. So big opportunity here for them to learn what this off-season work is going to produce for them here. And like we said, they are glad to get some laps here. They did not want to roll in here to just qualify and then race. So some good R&D going on here early for the 21.
You mentioned him winning that race last year. He was about 6th going into turn 3, and they all piled into each other.
That one was gifted.
It looked like there was multiple guys that might win that. He was in the right place, the right time. I mean, you're not going to take it away, but he did not have the best car that day.
I came apart at the seams calling that.
Literally, you needed Clippy to guide you.
What did you say that Jesse Love needed when we left here in the fall?
A beer and a cigarette.
That is the quote of the year. It was the best.
Hopefully he doesn't need it after tomorrow. I want you to look at the top 5. Ross Chastain, Jeb Burton, Lee Pulliam jumps up to 3rd. We'll tell his story. Ryan Ellis, Austin Hill, Corey Day falls to 6th. The rest of the top 10 early in practice: Clements, Creed, Poole, and Smithley. Good afternoon from Martinsville, Virginia, Martinsville Speedway. CW Sports bringing you live coverage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Today it's practice and qualifying. We race tomorrow with NASCAR Countdown Live hitting the air on CW. at 2:30 Eastern Time. With Parker Kligerman, Jamie McMurray, I'm Adam Alexander. And if you're joining us on our affiliates and saying, wait a minute, practice has already started, well, it has. We went 10 minutes early because we anticipate there could be some thunderstorms in the area, cold front moving through, so NASCAR has adjusted the schedule to make sure we get everything in. Practice now, 40 minutes to go there, and then we will qualify. And we check in on the 19 of Brent Cruz. He'll celebrate his 18th birthday on Monday, and from now on, he is indeed full-time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. A couple of starts already this year.
Got to think he's thankful to finally get to Martinsville. It had to be hard to have those couple of starts and then take a break and watch your car, you know, run while you're not in it. But he's a super impressive young man. I think the entire garage has been impressed with what they've seen so far. I remember the Rockingham test they had not long ago. Everyone talked about this car, be there next week. And again, one of those guys, I know we talked about Martinsville a few minutes ago, and Parker, I feel like it's one of those places you either love or you hate. There's like no middle ground here.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I loved it.
It's a unique short track that we can talk some of the particulars of how you drive this place that makes it so unique, but it's just, to your point, some people have a knack for it and others just struggle. Unlike you, I was definitely on the opposite side where I had to work at this place so hard to try and be good.
How about two drivers that are short on experience in this series, but opposite ends of the spectrum when you talk about age and where they fit into the racing landscape? Here's the 9 of Lee Pulliam, going to make his first ever start driving for Junior Motorsports here tomorrow. This is a guy that is a short track legend. And last week, he was able to win in South Boston, and this really laid the groundwork for momentum when you think about everything that's going to happen for him here in Martinsville this weekend.
Yeah, and he probably has a little bit of late model experience here. You see last week in South Boston, I was actually up there on Friday, watched those guys practice, do a little bit of qualifying, butter, beans, and name that we've all heard, and he actually drove Lee Pulliam's cars the last couple of years in the late model series, won some Cars Tourist championships. I've been watching him on social media, and I love when you see excitement. He's not a kid, right? He's 30-some years old. I love when you see the excitement out of these guys, though, getting the opportunity. He referenced it. He's like, man, it's you know, I'm just such a rare chance. All these guys in short tracks that want to have opportunities. He's like, I'm finally getting it. I think it's cool, too. I think we gave Dale Jr. a shout-out that he was able to make this happen. I know that Lee brought a little bit of funding over to that, but looking on the side of it, I see Jerky Boys. I know that's Dale because he's always trying to get you to eat that on the airplane when you fly with him.
Hey, did you see this week? He was sitting in the shop in a lawn chair eating Jerky Boys and watching the guys, you know, roll the car around. It's really neat. Great story.
I think this is so cool. It reminds me of Bubba Pollard getting this opportunity a couple years ago, who did an awesome job at Richmond, raced against him. And you could just see that these guys who come out of that short track world, and for Lee has, you know, won here at Martinsville in the large late model race, that 300
Valley Star,
yes. The Bail and everything.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, okay. And I think he raced last year and
feel like
came
we're
close to
married
winning.
also.
but the point is, it's really cool to see. It's a bit old school, and you know Dale is so old school, and seeing a short track ace get an opportunity at the national level in a great equipment like this, and to be top in 6 right now, I mean, that's so impressive in these heavier cars and what he's used to driving.
Well, this is foreign to him,
but there's no replacement for understanding a racetrack like this, like he does, like Bubba understood Richmond. It's just they get how these cars work, and they get these racetracks. I just think it's such a cool thing to see.
6th in practice, I would say he is indeed ahead of the curve. And here's the 8 car, his teammate, Sammy Smith. And when you think about needing to get some knowledge with these cars in this track, I mean, you got a lot of opportunities at Junior Motorsports. Sammy Smith is really good here. Unfortunately, last spring, this wasn't one of his better moments. Final lap.
He would prefer we didn't show this, by the way.
That was a terrible highlight for us to throw up there for him. But he was going for the win right there.
Yeah, but I mean, the bottom line is he's finished 2nd here 3 times. This is a place where Sammy, you just anticipate he's going to be part of the equation.
And this is what he's remembered for right now, you know, and I think talking to him over the last few months and post that, he obviously regrets it. He knows that was too much, that was too far, but you don't want to take away from your point that he has run up front at this place often, right? And been in contention there. And that was just being a little bit overzealous in trying to get that win. But I think he has a knack for this place, and he's one of those that I would say is really good here.
I think he redeemed himself when we were here the last time, because he was in the exact same situation, and he did not do that, and most likely would have. I mean, the only thing he did wrong the first time was he didn't win when he did it. I mean, like, people do that all the time. They go on the win, and we don't think much of it. But the guy on the right is just as good, if not better, than Sammy Smith at this racetrack.
Well, you talk about the 54 and Taylor Gray, and he won that race in the fall, his only career win. We've got a great piece, NASCAR Countdown Live, tomorrow, of him reflecting on everything that happened here a year ago. And this is the replay we're talking about. He gets away, and he'll tell you in the piece tomorrow, I mean, I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Instead, part 2 of this story, he drives away, gets the win, the grandfather clock. What's really cool about this is his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, and all he's done in this series, had never won at Martinsville, didn't have a grandfather clock. Taylor Gray's able to deliver that to him.
A second ago, did you say ahead of the curb or the curve?
Yeah, curb, yeah.
Curve, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know we have curbs.
Well, we do.
Here, so I wasn't sure if you were playing off of that.
That'll be a big talking point this week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the pre-race tomorrow.
Someone will, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, we're going to dive right into it. We're going to dive onto it.
Onto it.
Yeah, yeah.
Chastain, Kvapil, Jeb Burton, Taylor Gray. See him right here in 4th. Brandon Jones, your top 5. We're going to step aside ourselves, and as we go to break, we give you a little bit of a glimpse of the piece you'll see NASCAR Countdown Live tomorrow with Taylor Gray.
Never thought that I was necessarily in reach for him to come get me, and then obviously I was wrong.
Oh, will there be contact? There is! There goes Gray!
I wanted to beat his ass. Went into the fall, I think I just knew I had to stay locked in, and I exited turn 4, and it finally happened.
Welcome to the club, Taylor Gray!
That gives me chills talking about it.
Almost 20 minutes into practice for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series here in Martinsville, Virginia. Carson Kvapil second on the board behind Ross Chastain. Made his debut here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he's another of those guys that I think super comfortable at this racetrack. He's run the late model races like we talked about, Lee Pulliam had done in the past, and when he came here the first time, just has had success. And my gosh, the last time we were here, it was his day was stressful.
What a comeback.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to watch what happened, but he has really good speed here. You mentioned it, he's second right now. I just feel like it's one of those tracks he's comfortable at, and it kind of comes easy to him here.
Let's get an update with that one team. Dylan Welch standing by.
Well, and he's another one that that does have late model laps here, and you know, maybe for those that don't know, it might be worth explaining that there's about a 500-pound difference between those cars and these O'Reilly cars. So I asked Carson, you know, how are you still so good here? And he said, well, even though these cars don't drive maybe as well as the late models do, a lot of the philosophy of just driving this racetrack still applies somehow. So that's maybe why you see Carson and even Lee Pulliam, you know, inside the top 10 right now. Two guys with a lot of laps around this racetrack. And by the way, this is his second of 3 straight weeks in this one car, which will be the most consecutive weeks so far this year that he's been in the same car. So he's excited about that, to have some consistency last week, this week, and the next week at Rockingham working with Rodney Childers.
And I would say that he's done a great job regardless of what car that he's been driving this year.
Yeah.
But when you look at what he's done with Rodney and the one team, go back to Phoenix where they were inside the top 5, so impressive last week at Darlington. You just have high expectations here, and he's backing it up in practice. And, you know, we talk about his debut race here when he finished 4th. It's amazing to me how good he was running part-time in 2024. The moments they had a year ago when he was running for Rookie of the Year, it's just astounding. This guy has not won a race, just a matter of time before this guy graces victory lane.
And I think similar, not nearly at the same scale, but similar to Sheldon Creed in that when it happens, it's just going to make everything easier, right? And I think Sheldon will tell you, just since that win, every weekend probably felt a little easier, a little lighter. He's going to have that same effect.
I think there has to still be a lot of pressure on Carson because his crew chief, Andrew Overstreet, has went on to win 2 races this year. With Allgaier and all those things, those mess with your head as a driver.
Jesse Love, 26th in practice. Here's 2 radio.
Correct. I slide the back when I roll to center when I try to roll more speed. Fired off pretty neutral, man. I just turned it freer. I want to see some T, please. Entry stability. I think it's pretty good. I have my fans on, by the way. I had a good bit of brake fade. Wide open on the brakes. So if your entry's good, put some rear to it.
Not good the last time we were here.
Yeah, and not looking great, but he didn't sound like they were panicking. Remember, and I think this is really important to point out with how warm it is today compared to what we're racing tomorrow. This place is incredibly temperature sensitive, and for whatever reason, these RCR cars have been very temperature sensitive over the last few years. So we look back at a little replay here of them going into 3. That's Taylor Gray ahead of him. Is it a little love tap?
I feel like when we show replays, there's usually a little bit of contact.
That's just not trying to change your mid-corner speed for a car that's maybe a little slower and move on by. Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, and the other thing you're trying to do, if you're the 2 and you get to the gas a little early, you want that little bit of momentum to try to drive up underneath them, and it's all about timing, and sometimes you have good timing and sometimes you don't.
But one thing Dylan earlier talked about how RCR has struggled sort of at these short tracks as of late and made it a huge prerogative within the organization to get better at these short tracks. I can tell you from my time being the affiliate there, it was so hit or miss. There'd be weekends like we had where Austin Hill won, maybe wasn't one of the best cars, but won, and then there were weekends where we all struggled to run 15th for whatever reason, and it really, one of the things we focused on was the temperature and the differences there, but for whatever reason, the RCR cars and their affiliates can be very hit or miss at these short tracks, and it was always something that made us scratch our heads and wonder why, and I don't think it's really been figured out, but we know they're focusing on it, so we'll see if it's different. And the one thing with the 2 where you talk about brake bias, that's where they might set the brake bias a little forward to be more comfortable in entry, but if you're fine, you try to get some of that brake bias back. It does a couple things. It just keeps heat out of the front, which stops the front tires from getting overinflated, keeps some heat out of the front brakes, and overall can make the car better on the long run.
Ross Chastain leading the way in practice, 17 laps for him. Here's 91 radio.
I've got quite a bit of grinding coming up through the chassis, like into the bottom of the seat when I'm on the brake pedal. Yeah, it's 90% when I'm on the brake pedal. When I release brake pedal and I'm on the gas, it's really not there. To me, it feels like it's coming through the bottom right of the seat into my right butt cheek.
It obviously has something to do with the brakes if he feels that, and you feel everything through your butt. I would compare it to fishing, like on the line, right? Like you feel like a nibble, you don't see the line move, but you can feel it. And in a race car, anytime there's a vibration or something, you feel it. You feel it in the seat, you feel it in your hands. You sometimes can feel it in your feet on the pedals. He's trying to be descriptive there, but it's almost as if like the mesh of the pads to the rotors isn't right, or there's buildup. I don't know. Grinding it's not going to get better.
I'm just glad he's here. Third different car he's driven this year on the O'Reilly side of things. A couple of starts in the 32 for Jordan Anderson, last week in the 9 for Junior Motorsports, driving the 91 for Mario Gosselin this weekend. And this is the moment when it comes to Ross Chastain we'll never forget.
Still looks fake.
It does. Every time you watch, you're like, that is not real.
It's one of those moments you remember where you were. I was standing right there on pit road on the inside, and I thought, did he just do that?
I was watching you on TV.
Oh,
he went to the championship 4 off of that move, and now it's illegal. NASCAR said there will be no more of that. Back here in Martinsville, Virginia, practice off and rolling for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Just talking during the break here, we saw Chastain as we were heading in a minute ago, and you know, he's run 17 laps. He's quickest, but only 17 laps, and everybody else in the top 10, you know, 25 or more. Some of these guys closing on 50 laps. Cory Day did a stage, right? He's 9th on the board. He did a 60-lap run. What do you make of those combinations up there?
Well, I think some of it is when you went out, right, what rubber was laid down on the racetrack and that sort of thing to see where you are on the leaderboard. You know, most of the teams will be paying attention more to what the balance is of these cars, where is it trending over the course of a run, that sort of thing. But the thing that sticks out to me is that radio we heard from Chastain with the issues he's having with the brakes. These teams do a lot with brakes here at Martinsville. You can do some unique, you know, setup in terms of the brakes at times, and that sometimes that can get very close to the wheel, which can be some of that grinding that he was referencing. So those are sorts of issues that in 17 laps he might have figured that out, and they've had to sit in the pits and work on it.
Parker had a lot of words there. He basically thinks he has a problem, Adam, and so he came in to work on it.
I was trying to be more specific, Jamie, as opposed to general.
Jeb Burton, really good at Martinsville, Virginia guy. Here's some 27 radio.
Landing to the center and a little pre-all. I get a little like snug, like the 3/4 mark, and I can't really diagnose, is it because I'm not keeping the wheel input in it, or is it the car? I feel like it's just because I'm free entry and I'm free to the center, you know?
So that's pretty typical. If you're free on entry, you don't have the wheel input in there, then you ask the car, so you think about the wheel being almost straighter as you enter the corner, and then you get to the center and you try to input a bunch of wheel, turn it to the left. Well, the car doesn't react to that very well. So that's where you'll get the tight in the center. Then you'll have too much wheel towards the exit portion, and you'll get loose on the exit because the car sort of snaps around. That's one of those things where you might be talking about the middle of the corner, but to fix it, like Jeb referenced, you work on the entry because the corner always starts in one spot, Jamie.
I totally agree, and you're going to hear everybody reference like the 5/8 or 3/4 mark of the corner, because that technically is the middle. That's where you want to get cut and want to get to the bottom. And if we go on board, you'll get a good look at kind of the input of the wheel, and you really don't put a lot of wheel into it until you get like way around the corner. It's a pretty unique racetrack, and that's what makes it so challenging.
33 laps in practice for Brandon Jones, bringing it back down the pit lane. He's 5th. Coming off his best run of the year, 2nd last weekend. And here's a driver that was good on the short tracks in 2025 in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. 39, Ryan Sieg. Only 2 top 15 runs this year. Came out strong at Daytona, was a lap down, got it back, finished 3rd, and they were top 15 last Saturday at Darlington. Under 20 minutes to go in practice. From an HFT Alliance car to one of the flagship drivers, 41, Sam Mayer. 8 career wins, 2 have come on short tracks, both at Iowa, including last year, and there's his crew chief. Jason Trincherry calling the shots.
They've had tremendous speed this year, but wow, they've also had plenty of issues, and I don't feel like it's issues they've created themselves. It's just kind of racing luck, but the speed of the 41 car has been there just about every single week, and I would fully expect him to have speed again this weekend. Where's he at on the board right now?
Yeah, I was looking, and he's over there 34th.
Yeah, terrible right now on the board, and you could play some of that off of if you waited to go out or when you went out, but that's pretty far down.
You know, his average finish last year on the short tracks was just over 5. I mentioned the fact that he won at Iowa. He's been good at Martinsville, runner-up here a couple of years ago. But the thing that concerns me this weekend is if you look at his performance in 2026, they have a week in the top 10, and then they have a week where something goes wrong. Well, last week, they were in the top 10 at Darlington. So we hope that the trend doesn't continue, but as Jamie referenced, I mean, it's just been really, really bizarre to look at their performance and the numbers that come with it this season.
And with Sam Mayer, one thing to point out, when he has a bad practice, usually means a good race coming.
There you go.
And he'll tell you. It's a weird effect, but it's true.
We're going to ride on board here with Taylor Gray. You get a kind of a look at the steering wheel. It's nice. You can see on the left, out the nose of that car. You'll watch him kind of feed the car down in the corner, and then as you get to that like half, 3/4 mark of the corner, you'll see he'll slowly start putting more and more wheel input into it. It looks so casual as you watch here riding on board, but there's also a lot of footwork that goes on here. How do you apply the brake to keep from getting wheel hop, kind of rolling out of the throttle on entry, not jumping out of the gas. It's a rhythm racetrack, and you mentioned Cory Day running.
He just completed 20 in front of you, so half the lap.
So he's saying that to be like, don't worry if he's getting away. You've run a lot more laps. You got a lot more laps in your tires. We're not expecting you to be at the same speed as him. Good information right there from the spotter.
We call this place the paperclip. It's so unique. Those long straightaways and then those tight turns. And I'm listening to the throttle here, and you were referencing, his balance and finding the rhythm. Do you think you could close your eyes and just listen to a lap here and know right away this is Martinsville, just because of the repetition of long straightaway and those tight corners?
So I see that a lot in Formula One. They do those. You see the social media pieces. And I think it would be harder if you ran a bunch of road courses to know those. But I feel confident for sure the road courses we go to, you could close your eyes and you'd know fairly quick.
That's pretty cool.
And it is, but you just get used to hearing that.
And then to your point, Adam, Martinsville, 100%. Like this
maybe one of the easiest.
It would be one of the easiest. Yeah. It's one of the most unique sounds, rhythm-based, where you have such a long period of time where you're slowing the car down, the engine RPMs fall for such a long period of time, and then that gradual rise down the straightaways. So definitely you could tell.
10-lap average in the bumper right now. Taylor Gray, best in that regard. Interesting mix of names there. A couple of drivers from Joe Gibbs Racing in the top 5. Haven't said Raja Karut's name. He's back in the 88, 4th on the board there. William Sawalich trying to gain some momentum, is 6th when you look at 10-lap average. You know, when you come to Martinsville, you got to do it. Head down to the hot dog stand. Dylan was hanging out down there.
Dylan loves hot dogs.
Dylan,
Yeah,
go
he
get
does.
us a dozen. How about it? It's practice underway on CW. Glad you're with us. Happy Friday afternoon to you. CW Sports live, Martinsville Speedway. Here in Virginia, ready for a short track Saturday afternoon tomorrow for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Track pretty busy right now. Let's get a report from Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, Adam, you mentioned before the break, Rajah Kruth back in the 88 seat. He'll be in that seat this weekend, and then next weekend before Larson's back in the seat at Bristol. Another one of those drivers, we mentioned Carson Kvapil. Rajah also playing musical seats, running the Jordan Anderson Racing 32 entrant. And he told me, you know, the goal when he's running that Jordan Anderson car is base hits. Keep it clean for the entire race, get to the end. Whereas when he's in the 88, the goal is different. There is a much higher performance expectation there. Rajah's been out of the car for about 5 minutes. He is done with his practice. There was a really good conversation, though, between Rajah and his spotter, Josh Williams, before he got out of the car. Take a listen.
The only one better in the 20 and 30 lap average is the one. I like the one. Just get in a touch deeper, not enough that matters, but he can just kind of get it wound up and turn for that low exit and just gains a half tenth there.
Okay, so that makes sense. Just making sure I'm just not going too fast in the middle is basically what you're saying, to make sure I'm pointed for the exit.
So that's something every driver and team will work on here. And we talk about how unique this place is. Well, from a driver's perspective, it is unique because of what he discussed there. So if you look at this place from the aerial view, you're going to think it's symmetrical on both sides. It's not. We're looking at turns 1 and 2 right here. And basically, if you looked at it, you might think the min speed point and the apex is like there. That would be the dead center of the corner, but it's not. It's actually more like over here. You actually move the car from braking, say back here, you come through, you slow down, slow down, slow down, and then at this point, you then start to accelerate out of the corner. And that's what makes this place so tough, because your mind thinks, I want to be slowest in that center portion, but you really have to slow the car down around the corner. Think about the apex being around the other side. You can't see it when you're entering the corner, and then start accelerating. And that's one of the things I had to work on really hard with this place.
I thought that was a great description. I love what you said there, and I enjoyed the most that you put squiggly lines for acceleration.
Yeah, I had to make it different than the braking.
You know, I was here one time for a cup practice. I want to say it was Wartburton, not 100% sure. But the driver went down, stood on the wall in turn 1, and watched Jeff Gordon, who was just unbelievable here, and just watch his braking points into the corner and then would follow him off in the acceleration point to get a feel for how to manage Martinsville.
The biggest mistake drivers make when they come here, when they haven't been here, and I think what makes some better than others, guys try to pick the throttle up too early. Parker mentioned where the min speed was. You want to pick the throttle up, but you just have to wait, and you wait because you have to wait till you start unwrapping the wheel and start straightening it up, because the less wheel input you have, the more drive you have on the corner, the more throttle you can give it. And all of the lap time here is not made up on entry. All the lap time is made up from the middle off. And it's so hard because if you don't get off the corner good, this natural reaction of a driver is to overdrive the entry, and then that just messes up the next set of corners, and it just multiplies every lap.
Looking at Sheldon Creed here. Want to rewind just a second as we watch Sheldon make laps. Didn't pay off Parker Retzlaff on track 19th, coming off that great run last Saturday at Darlington. Retzlaff does have a pole here. Be anxious to watch him when we get ready to qualify in a little bit. And talk about drivers that are good on short tracks. Creed's just been the model of consistency lately. Always impressive when we come to this place. 3 runner-up finishes. And he's one of those guys that we talk about now that he's got to win. What does that allow him to do? This is the kind of place where you just feel like he can go out and take advantage.
Be really good again this weekend.
Creed 11th right now, Kim.
Yeah, and before his win at Atlanta, we thought maybe Martinsville would be the place where he would get that win. Runner-up 3 times here at the paperclip. Right now, though, just needing a little bit more out of the car. He told crew chief Jonathan Toney that he's just really tight after the center of the corner. If he's below the rubber, it's slightly better. Needs more turn, but he did check earlier in the run to see if the top would help him out. He said, yes, I could use the top if that comes into play tomorrow, but he said, I really need to run the bottom better.
Yeah, we talk about the win at Atlanta, and we've talked about his success on short tracks, but I would also say we need to pay off the fact that it's not just the win, it's the connecting each week. And we've been to a lot of different types of racetracks this year, and when you look at what they have done every week at all different styles, 4th in points, off to the best start of a season in his career. And here's how it played out at Atlanta. Looked like it might be Austin Hill again. He gets tagged by the 32 of Ross Chastain, and here comes the 00. And the crowd went wild in the booth that night.
We did. I think the whole series was rooting for him in some respects. As he came down pit road, there were so many drivers and teams that congratulate him, know how hard he's worked for that first victory and how close he's been before. But when you see just that last little clip, you might think, oh, he kind of lucked into it. He didn't. He was up front that entire race. He was constantly battling for the lead. He just was in the right position at the right time, and finally it went his way. Consider how many were taken away from him. He finally broke through in a way that was so fun to watch.
You know, you can use a race set of tires and make a qualifying run late. I believe that's happened. Pulliam just went to the top. Josh Williams is second. More practice coming up on CW. Inside of 5 minutes to go, practice for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series here at Martinsville Speedway. Some games starting to be played. It's changed the running order a little bit when you look at the practice board.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those guys pulled out and did a mock run. I think Lee Pulliam would put in that category. A few of the other guys have done that as well. But the thing that sticks out to me is there's not really a favorite, Adam. Normally when you look at those 5, 10, 15 lap averages, especially at a short track like this, we tend to see some consistency. We did hear Raj's guys talking about he was the best they thought on that 15, 20 lap run. And I will tell you, if I had to pick one to be good on, I don't really care about the fastest or the 5 or the 10. I want to be good at the end.
Brandon Jones, winner here in 2022, nearly got the sweep. He's 8th quick right now.
For stability side like that, we're turning pretty exceptional through the rubber. It's not perfect, but it's I'd say it's pretty close. That's definitely a way better feel than what we just came off of through there. A lot of times able to drive right out of it, so that was really nice. I'd say the biggest things are just losing some overall rear grip on the extremities, both ends.
Let's get it ready to qualify. Sounds pretty good in there. And he referenced the rubber. What are the things that happens at this track? As the rubber gets laid down, it'll build up, and the cars don't want to turn when you go through it. You hear guys talk about having to straddle it, especially in the cup races when you get the longer runs. But man, that was a really good breakdown. You get a little view here. You see some of the clag or the pieces up above, but it's really that rubber on the left-hand side of the screen where it's very dark. You see how it's clean where the left side tires are, kind of clean just above that, but right through the middle. That will build up on a long run. It gets really bad at the end, and then they will pick most of that up under caution. As I've got my compadre, Parker,
I thought I'd drop for you.
That's
so
nice. Yeah, that's great.
Where your right sides are, as you can see, they're running right through it. When they talk about straddling it, they'll run more like up here, put the left sides, try and straddle these bits of rubber. You'll end up all the way up top sometimes, so it's just trying to get away from that, because if you get stuck in that rubber, sometimes it just sort of is greasy and it pulls the car in a direction you don't want to go. So that's why they talk about that often. The one thing I thought was interesting, though, the use of extremities. As he said, the rear was loose in the extremities.
I did not hear that part.
I have not heard that description before. I'm not even sure how to interpret it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Maybe that's why I didn't hear it. It was selective hearing, as my wife would tell you.
What was that term you used? The clad?
Clag. He's David Hobbs is here. Did you not know?
I didn't.
Listen, I know Parker loves Formula One.
Yeah.
So I thought I would say there's an immense amount of clag on the top.
I can tell you, I won't be using that one. It's not one that's in my wheelhouse.
What would you have called that, Adam, if it was just you?
Marbles?
The marbles.
Yeah. The debris, the
junk,
not dust. I mean, the junk would be probably more appropriate.
I think marbles is
Jamie is just such a early 2000s F1 fiend that he likes to use some of the terminology.
There are a few other ways we could describe Jamie, but we'll save that for another time. A couple of minutes to go in practice. Everybody going to run it out here. Jesse Love, reigning champ, off to a good start this year, 2nd in points. Haven't won yet. You feel like that is going to be coming. And in fact, they've been top 10 every race until last week. They were 11th at Darlington, and really you put an asterisk on that one because he was going to be top 10 again, and then got turned around on pit road and missed out, lost all that track position.
And as I watched this car go around, we heard his radio earlier about how he felt like the balance was good, it was trending in the right direction and everything. I do see a lot of movement out of the car. I saw it on entry, on exit.
I saw black sparks on the exit.
Well,
and I can tell you that's not good.
You know, he has done 61 laps, so that is a tremendous amount of laps. This is further than you probably would go at any other point. But I don't know. I just I see that and sort of makes me, if I'm Danny Stockman, I'm going, hey, what's that all about?
The frustrating part about Martinsville is you can't hide. It's not one of those tracks that you're like, well, I'm going to go run high or the middle. Like, there's really one groove here. You know, you might run the outside on a restart if you're in the outside lane for a few laps, but there's one groove at Martinsville, and it's the one that everyone fights for. And if your car's not good, you're host. But in the old format, when he won the championship, it was survive and advance. So it's not that you got a weekend off, but as long as you moved to the next round, everything was okay. It's going to be totally different in 2026 with the chase, and this is a race that we will see at a very critical point when drivers are trying to capture the championship. How good does the driver of the 9, Lee Pulliam, feel right now to come here, get this opportunity, get a look at him there? No doubt he'll be taking a screenshot of that to send to all his friends. Look where I was in practice. He didn't even need the PR lap. He done a great job in the first run. That's exceptional, though, for him. I'm happy for him. It's a good opportunity, and he's making the most of it.
Practice is done. Started practice 10 minutes early to try to get all the track activity in because there is a threat of rain. Mother Nature making it happen, but I think we're going to be okay. Qualifying is coming up. We're live on the CW. Here in Martinsville, Virginia. Boy, you just want to inflate things.
That's our
Look.
Christmas card for Lee Pulliam.
I mean, he's got the folded arms. Feels full of confidence. Fastest in practice. Made the Q run late. Lee Pulliam top of the board. Here's Kim.
And Jeb Burton with top 10 speed. This has always been a great track for you. You look at your stats here. 4 of the last 5 races, 11th or better. How do you feel about what you have now that you've completed practice, though?
Kim, I feel really good. I felt like we were a top 5 car the whole time there. Short run, long run. Just need a couple little tweaks to make the 27 car fast enough to win. But really proud of the guys. It's been a tough last 2 weeks. Just we've made some changes and we've had some growing pains the last 2 weeks. And we had such a great run at Phoenix, and a lot of momentum in the last 2 weeks have just been devastating. It hadn't been fun, but really appreciate my guys for working hard. We've been working on this setup the last couple years, as you mentioned. Working hard. We've been working on this setup the last couple years, as you mentioned, and getting it better and better. And just appreciate them. Appreciate Redneck Blinds for coming on board. PH Outdoors. I'm the hunting car this weekend for the Virginia fans. So just appreciate all our partners, Kim, and looking forward to a good weekend.
With all of your family's success and history here, when you come here, is there an element of pressure, or is it just you're just happy to be here?
Well, every time I go to qualify, the guys in the booth talk about Harrison's won here, Jeff's won here, my dad's won here. I'm like, damn, give me a break. So I've got a pole here and I had a lot of good runs, just hadn't got the clock. So hopefully this weekend we can have a shot at it.
All right, you heard him. Give him a break, guys. Dylan, who do you have?
We're catching up with Josh Williams, who is second, and both DGM cars in the top 5 here. So what did your race car do well there that you liked about it?
Yeah, we were pretty good in practice there. Felt like, you know, our race run was pretty good. Just battling the rubber with the modified rubber, and then us, like it's rubbered up a bunch. So just trying to find that good fine balance. But, you know, proud of everybody here at DGM, you know, Optum on board, and having the bad luck that we've had this year, you know, but when we have raced and we haven't had an issue, we've had really good speed. So proud of everybody here at DGM, man. It's super cool to have some success, and me and Ross back on the racetrack as teammates would be pretty cool.
Thanks, Josh.
Looking at the board, 2 cars from DGM, Mario Gosselin inside the top
Awesome.
5. You kind of expect it. from Ross Chastain. Josh Williams makes the Q run late. He jumps up there. He referenced the bad luck. They've been in the game the last couple of weeks, and it's paying off. Everybody making the transfer, getting ready for qualifying here at the Paperclip.
Back there, please.
Next up on our to-do list here in Martinsville, qualifying for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Lee Pulliam going to try to back up what he did in practice. And tomorrow he'll try to do more of what he's done at some of the great short tracks in the region, and that is find his way to the checkered flag. What a great story this guy has been throughout his career. Never got the big break he needed to run full-time in the National Series, but we talked about it earlier. Dale Jr. giving him this opportunity. He's helped so many others, and now here he is, and he's backing it up, and I just am so happy for him and everybody involved. Let's go to Kim Kuhn.
And Lee Pulliam making his NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut. Finishes practice top of the board. What was the big takeaway being in these cars for the first time?
Just everything I could dream of and more. You know, it's something I worked my whole life for, and the opportunity to be in this Junior Motorsports #9 Chevrolet is just unbelievable. So I've had goosebumps for 3 months thinking about it, and just so proud. I mean, this is what I've always wanted to do, and you know, just the timing worked out perfect to have the opportunity to be here, and just can't thank everybody enough for it.
How do you go about setting an expectation for tomorrow's race?
Man, that's tough because it's been a success for me already. Everything that Dale's done, and Kelly and LW and the whole JRM community, it's been unbelievable. So it's already been a success, and I'm just going to do the best I can to make no mistakes, mistakes on pit road. I know that's going to be a big challenge for me, but just got such a good team behind me. I feel like I'll have a shot at racing 4 o'clock. So just got to keep the fenders on it and be smart, and you know, hopefully find myself in the top 5 fighting for it at the end.
Good luck and have fun.
Thanks so much.
Lee Pulliam, a 2-time late model winner at Martinsville Speedway, but he reminded me he has 7 second-place finishes here. It's always the ones you miss out on that you remember the most. Qualifying coming up from the Paperclip shortly.
Compared to everyone else, that's a smarter approach rather than wrap bottom, and Whip doesn't pick up like as fast off exit. You need to run the bottom, it's going to turn. And 4.
Front downforce with all the tape is going to turn.
I'm not talking about turn, I'm saying just exit speed.
Hey, real quick, let's try to get all these electronics put up somewhere, because if the bottom drops out, all of our stuff's out.
Yeah, the chances of this going an hour without it raining are very low.
Bar, I'm going to put your stuff in my pocket.
For Tommy, I was talking about exit speed there. I know what you're talking about. I think that's fine coming to the green. I think during your green flag laps, you were not going to do that at all. Okay. You need to go bottom and wrap it the best you can, and make sure you get a really good exit.
We're about to roll, guys. Got to head back. 2 people go to the car with crash wrap, and just go ahead and crash wrap it with the car cover. The rest of us get this cleaned up. We'll take it to our pit stall for the race, pit stall 37 or 8 or whatever. LeVar, I got your phone in my pocket.
Thanks, man. After the 30.
Big NASCAR weekend here in Martinsville, Virginia. Tomorrow, practice and qualifying for Cup teams. NASCAR on Prime, 12:30 Eastern Time. NASCAR Countdown Live with Carla Metz on CW at 2:30. Sunday, we're racing on the Cup side of things, 3:30 Eastern Time
you see the,
on FS1.
middle there.
Here's Dylan.
Numbers there with the colors.
Brent Cruz in the
like from your
19 for the
lap,
rest of the year. I know you're excited about that.
16,
What did you have there in practice? You've raced here before in the truck,
good.
so I imagine that helps you comfortability a little bit too.
After that,
Yeah, it does. We ran really good in the truck here last year, but yeah, we have a really fast number 19 Mobile 1 Toyota Supra. Hopefully we can get qualifying in. The weather does not look great looking up at the sky, but yeah, our car was really good in practice. Setting the racetrack pretty good the first couple laps, so we were taking it smooth and came in and pitted and everything. So we're pretty far down in the running order in practice, but our long run speed's pretty good. Just learning, to be honest with you. It's a lot different than the truck here. So yeah, excited to get going and hopefully get qualifying in.
He's got laps at the next 3 tracks, including this one as well. So good opportunity to continue to learn for the youngster from North Carolina. Cars rolling to the grid, qualifying coming up shortly here in Martinsville.
roll this corner a little bit quicker and use all your lateral grip on exit. Don't worry about cutting it low. Yeah, 10-4. I'm going to take my radio off for a sec. Copy.
Damn, you broke my arm coming down so fast. All right, go a little left. Try to keep him on this dash mark so we stay out of this trash.
Copy.
Make sure all your brake fan switches and all that stuff are turned off, LeVar.
Pack is outside right now, so if you have anything valuable, you might want to move it under cover because it's getting pretty nasty down here. Valuable inside of them.
What was their mock? What they go on their mocks? Anybody know? Lap time?
I think they went at 36. Meg, you're down there. They go on their mock. I think it was a 36 was fast time.
Yeah, I think it was a 36, then a couple 40s.
The number one question we ask normally when we start qualifying is who's going to win the pole. But today the number one question is, will we finish the session? Because rain is on the way. You saw the live radar there. And now we begin qualifying. First car out, 35, Justin Carroll.
Making his debut in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yes, sir, I got you.
Brent Cruz talk about how much different it was from the trucks. Justin ran a truck here last year. Getting the same experience there.
And you heard Josh Williams talk about the rubber that lays down this place and how it starts to lose grip. You see all that rubber out there going this early. Major detriment there of having grip, so you got to be super precise with the car here. Even though you got to try and rise the grip level, it's just not going to be as good as some of the later cars you're going to have.
And if you watch every car that goes out, as you watch the X, they clean it off, they pick it up, and that's really black right now. When we get to like 15 or 20 cars through, the track is going to be clean and it's going to have a significant amount more grip.
You get 2 laps here since we're qualifying on a short track. 40 cars have come to race this weekend. 38 make the show, 2 go home. 32 will get in on speed, so if you beat 8, you know you'll race tomorrow. Second car out, 74, Dawson Cram.
And usually your first lap will be slightly slower than your second lap, but if you do it correctly, especially for some of these cars trying to make the race, you kind of want to use that first one as a banker lap. Don't take every liberty, but then go after it on that second, but give yourself something to fall back on with that first lap.
Yeah, Dawson's making his second start of the season. I'll give you guys a little fun fact on him. I've gotten to know Dawson
Start the rain, you're on the 20,
over the past couple of years. Dawson, leaving black marks. He likes to run, Adam. You and I are into running.
How about that?
Yeah, Dawson's got a little bit of a passion for that. Done some 5Ks and 10Ks.
Like I said, first lap's a banker.
Yeah,
second lap, go after it.
And
that's
the
what
first
Dawson
2
did.
that picked up on their second time around. 20:57 for Dawson Cram. I thought he was going to be
car control.
a repeat of Darlington. A little wall kiss there, but he's able to stay off. Ross Chastain, good in practice out in the 91.
He's always exciting to watch.
We did get a report, sprinkles on the roof. Something we'll continue to monitor. First lap for Ross Chastain. He's quickest, 20:53.
Practice, Ross ran a 20:56, so pretty similar, but if you look right there, about 3/10 up this lap. I think he listened to Parker. Got a little safety lap in.
I definitely do not think that's
maybe overshot turn 3 a little bit there, but got a good exit. Gonna get decent lap, 2016. That'd be 2/10 better than anybody ran in practice. Got to feel pretty good about that, especially having to go out early because we know the track's going to get better.
What's up, Dylan?
Here for qualifying. Catching up with Dean Thompson before he climbs aboard. I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, but statistically, this is your best track based on average finish. So you've had some good runs. Maybe I did have to tell you that. What kind of opportunity does that present for you guys and this team here this weekend?
That's a great opportunity. I mean, I feel like we're a bunch of short track racers, our guys. You know, Chris comes from our crew chief, Chris Bowen, comes from a short track racing background. So he's just really smart with all of this, and we can kind of bond on that kind of experience. So he's really smart here. He's raced here before, so he knows what I'm going through. And I know he's put together a good 1 TPG Toyota Supra for us. So really excited for today and tomorrow, and hope we get a good starting position out of it.
Thanks, Dean.
If Dean didn't know the stat, boy, he really played along well.
He did, yeah.
Myatt Snyder completes his qualifying run. He too quickest on his second lap. He is second, 20:52 for him in the 30. Here's LeVar Scott in the 45.
Man, we showed all the marbles that were on the top of the racetrack. You don't want to be driving through that. This is not one of those tracks you get a run, come to the green. I'm going to say he overestimated the speed into turn 3. He's definitely going to have to just use that to get his tires cleaned up, get some heat in those. It's coming back. If you look on the right, the tracker is going the right way. If he can put it all together right here.
That was good first lap. 20:36. Really good first lap. If he can clean it up. Just got a little tight there at the exit of the corner of 2.
This is his first trip to Martinsville. He was really good on the short tracks in ARCA competition. Rookie of the year a couple of years ago, but has never been to this place.
Gosh, that car was so good, like in the middle section of that qualifying. It's almost like the tire pressure maybe a little high or something. It went away right there at the end.
Stays second on lap number 2, but he does pick up 20:36. Here's Kyle Sieg trying to bounce back from disappointment at Darlington. Had that top 15 run in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. Driving the 28 for RSS.
It's one of those cars. Get some help from the Haas factory team. We talked about the speed that all those guys have had. High expectations coming into today. First lap's not where he wants to be at a 20:56 right now. See if he can put it back together. We've seen some of the guys pick up, some not so much. Looks like he's got a little better lap going here. Ross down to the 2020, just he's about 2/10 off of that. Ooh, got a little loose right there. Lost some momentum coming back to the start-finish line.
He had to quit it.
Oh boy.
He's the first driver that didn't pick up on lap 2, talking about Kyle Sieg, and now we'll put the caution flag out because we're getting some rain. Yeah. We heard that there were some raindrops on the roof, and then we said they're going to shut things down because of the rain, and you can see it, and there's the radar once again. It's made its way.
Boy, look at that building.
Well, we needed like 20 minutes probably, and we would have been able to get this thing done. Maybe not even that.
Well, they can dry it quick, but I would think that if we get that yellow gets to us and we get that really heavy saturated track, we're probably not going to be able to finish this.
What's going on, Kim?
Catching up with Andrew Patterson, longtime crew member at Jordan Anderson Racing, now putting the driver helmet on to make your series debut. So first and foremost, what does this opportunity mean to you?
Yeah, it means the world. I've worked with Jordan and all the guys at JR for over 6 years now. I started there as an intern, so it's pretty cool to get the opportunity to come out here and drive, not just for one race, but for 8 this year. So I took our time in practice, kind of getting up to speed. This is a big jump for me coming from the ARCA stuff. So I felt like at the end there we had a pretty good grasp on it, and was hoping we were going to get some qualifying in, but it's not looking good right now.
Before we jumped on air, I saw Raja come over, talk to you. Obviously, he's been in this seat before. Who besides Raja are you kind of leaning on just to figure out what exactly you're going to need tomorrow?
Yeah, my teammates, really. Even Jordan, team owner, he's been here a lot. Jeb, he's always really good around this place. So I feel good about that. I got good guys in my back, in my corner to help get me around here, and I feel like we're going to have a pretty good car for the race tomorrow.
Andrew mentioned he started as an intern at Jordan Anderson Racing. Actually, Dylan, one of the first employees they had back in 2021.
Yeah, catching up with William Sawalich here, where I want to first address your shoes because we had to educate you a little bit on some pop culture here. New boot goofing. I like these, by the way. Those are pretty cool. Did you design those?
No, I did not design those. The great people at JGR helped me out a little bit. But our Sound Gear GR Super is pretty darn good today.
All right, what did you like about it in practice?
I think it just got through the rubber well, and I found my rhythm well with the car. It kept turning on the long run, a little bit loose in, but I was able to manage that well. So I think it was a great practice session and a good use of an hour for us.
Thanks, William.
How about his off season? You know, we talked to him.
How about this week? He was at the White House this week.
That's right. I mean,
he's living in another world than the rest of us.
You would think if you're a NASCAR driver, being at the track is where everything happens. But for him, when he leaves the racetrack, I mean, his life is just like a movie.
He met the Pope.
Yes, he's with Pope, Trump. I mean, who else?
White House. I mean, there's nowhere globally that he's not just, fraternizing.
Yeah, I want to be his friend.
I know.
Go hang out.
Can we hang out? Do you think he'll invite us sometime?
I don't think he's inviting either of us.
Rain at Martinsville as we got 6 cars out in qualifying, and then Mother Nature reared her ugly head. Hopefully this will clear out. We'll dry the track and continue the qualifying session in a bit on CW.
Left rear is pretty low spring rate. My left front's like 50s. I don't know. I'll have to look. But we got to get Brownlow or somebody to okay it first.
Yeah, we're checking. We're staying on it. It's staying good now.
Good for valve core or something.
Yeah, we checked both of them, and yeah, it must have been. I appreciate it.
Old. Well, I'll see you in the toilet later. Only the best for Brad Perez / whatever your last name is. Relief driver.
Rain in Martinsville, Virginia, so qualifying has been halted for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. With that, let's visit with more drivers. Here's Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, Adam, more drivers making their series debut. Feels like the field's packed with you guys. Luke Baldwin, if that name sounds familiar, Tommy Baldwin Jr.'s son. So what did you think about the car in practice and for what you have for the race tomorrow?
Yeah, I think my Victory Custom Trailers number 5 Ford Mustang was pretty good on the long run. You know, I wasted a little bit of tire, I think, to fire off there trying to figure it out. And just didn't quite lay a good lap down. But, you know, to be honest with you, I thought our race run towards the end was good with the amount of laps on our tires. But, yeah, I'm honestly just blessed to be here. Chris Hedinger at Hedinger Racing for giving me the opportunity to be here. Victory Custom Trailers, Shoreside Support, and Shore Mechanical. So many people that make this happen. Ford Racing, Roush Yates Engines. So, yeah, it's a blessing to be out here, and we're going to learn a ton tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll learn a ton. You've also already learned a ton at this track because of the experience you have here in other series. And you'll be playing double duty this weekend, running the mod. You qualified 4th. But if we think back to what your grandpa was able to do here, 2-time mod winner at Martinsville, what would it mean to you to be able to take home the checkered flag in the mod race?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I've came here the last 2 years in the modified, and we've been fast, but runs haven't quite gone our way. So I think we have a really good race car in the modified, and it's cool to have. Yeah, I've never seen this footage, so this is pretty cool. Sorry. Yeah, I think our 7NY is pretty good, but you know, our main focus is here right now, trying to soak in as much as I can. I learned a ton throughout the 60 or so laps I made in that practice, so I'm excited to get out there in both.
Yeah, I'm not sure you would have seen the footage. That was from, I think, 1988.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even thought of back then.
Yeah, and the footage already aired, but his dad, Tommy Baldwin Jr., was actually crew chief for Tommy Baldwin Sr. You could have seen him in that video pushing the car and celebrating after the wins. Dylan, really cool third-generation racer story we have with Luke Baldwin in the field this weekend.
And Kim, Raja Karuth is back in the JRM 88 car this weekend. So this is another track that you have experience at in these cars, but what's it like to be here in a JRM car as good as they are here?
Yeah, Dylan, just a lot of fun. I've loved coming to this racetrack from the first time I came here trying to make the Valley Star Credit Union Racing late models. So, yeah, our HendrickCars.com Chevy was super good, and I'm just really proud of everybody at JRM and the Hendrick Engine Shop for just giving us really fast 5 race cars, with Lee obviously showing up and, you know, being right up to speed. So, yeah, honestly, on my end, just adjusting from my truck experience here, right, that those things go out around this racetrack in a certain way, and these cars are a lot more finesse. So I took the first 5 or 10 laps adjusting to it, but yeah, by the end I felt very comfortable, and hopefully we can get a good result for everybody at the Hendrick Automotive Group. You know, hello to Mr. H and Miss Linda and Brian and everybody at H Cars, and hopefully this weekend is meant to be for us.
I want to expand on that a little bit. We've talked to a couple other guys who have truck laps here, but have said the same thing, that these cars are different. How so? What is different about them? How do you have to drive them differently?
Well, for starters, the truck, it's got like a 7450 chip in it, so like you're in the chip like almost past just barely past the start finish line, and you're just in the rev limiter, and then you're just carrying a lot more, it feels like, center speed, because the truck slows down easier, and due to the Elmores and whatnot, the torque's different on exit, whereas these cars are a lot more finesse. You're not able to run up off the corner as much as you do on the truck. So yeah, just different driving styles. Takes a lot of finesse, but a lot of fun to drive, and yeah, I've really enjoyed, from, like you mentioned, my Xfinity or O'Reilly experience here in years past, and you know what practice had for us today.
Thanks, Raj.
Interesting observation here. Kim's down there on pit road, and Dylan has got an umbrella that might actually be big enough to cover the entire track, where we never would have been delayed in qualifying.
You know, I looked in our trailer down here, and they did not have convenient sizes. So I was hoping that I would bring this out here, and it would just deter the rain, and it would not rain. But it is, it's basically stopped, and this is not convenient anymore. So I'll probably be taking this down.
I'm not judging, Dylan.
I don't know that we ever needed an umbrella, Dylan.
Oh,
yeah,
shots fired.
I'm not judging because I assume Jamie was going to be the one judging, who's never spent time in the arduous conditions that are pit road and pit reporting. I had one time in Nashville for the sun because it was so.
Oh, I bet you did.
I've never done that. I've never done that. Gotten one out for the sun.
I burnt my scalp one time down there trying to get the
I know you guys are going to find this hard to believe. Parker's a little sensitive. His skin's sensitive. His feelings are sensitive.
Parker, I think we call it a parasol when it's used to block the sun, not the rain.
Avoid that
You're
term.
using a parasol.
Thank you, Kim, but I'm going to avoid that term. It was an umbrella.
Hey, let's go back, Luke Baldwin. I love his reaction to the video, by the way, which was outstanding. But you've been around him a lot and kind of watched him come up through the ranks a little bit, Jamie.
I have. Last couple of years, I've watched him. My son Carter actually races on the Smart Modified Tour with Luke, where he's won the last 2 championships. It's been a lot of fun to get to know him. Obviously, I know his dad, Tommy Baldwin, really well from the years of racing. I'm fairly confident that Luke has a lot more of his mother in him than he does Tommy. I say that jokingly. I mean, Luke's very passionate, but both he and his brother Jack will be in the modified race earlier tonight. But I've watched him, and it's, you know, it's a story like, almost like we talk about with Lee Pulliam, where you have these guys that are short track racers and they're just doing everything they can. Like, you know, Tommy Baldwin, Luke's dad, is just grinding, trying to find sponsorship, and they're just using every opportunity they can. And he mentioned that this came about you know, just within the last few weeks, getting to drive the 5 car, and he's one of those guys that I think gets the right opportunity. He has the ability, and he actually hasn't been racing that long. I think it's only 4 or 5 years that he's been racing. He started at a late age. But he's done a great job, and I would just say that, you know, from a dad's perspective, I watch the way he handles himself, and I just think he does a really good job. And you know, Tommy's did you guys see the footage from Tommy last year losing his mind at the racetrack? It was epic.
Oh, he's a fiery
I mean, Tommy,
Yep.
and Luke's not. I mean, Luke's a pretty calm guy, and he's methodical in a car. I think he does an exceptional job, and I hope that he gets the opportunity that he deserves.
It's cool too that Tommy was the crew chief for Ward Burton when he won the Daytona 500 in 2002, and now their kids, you know, going to be racing against each other here in Martinsville. And I also wanted to bring up, as we talk about first timers, Andrew Patterson. Kim referenced the fact that he's working in the shop at Jordan Anderson Racing, and he said he started there as an intern. I was in Darlington last week in the garage talking to some folks about Raja driving the 32. And they immediately went to, did you see who's driving it next week? So everybody at Jordan Anderson Racing is so excited about this opportunity for Andrew, just because of everything that he has put in. Tried to make the show last fall at the Roval and was unable to qualify, so we hope everything works out here today and he can race tomorrow. But neat stories in the garage for drivers trying to make their first ever start in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Kim?
Yeah, the jet dryers have taken the track, so we're going to battle that noise as we talk to Jeremy Clements. But both 5 and 10 lap averages, you had top 10 speed. What did you like about your race car, and what work did it still need?
Kim, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what you're saying. I mean, it's loud.
I told y'all.
I can't hear nothing. I guess you can hear me. You got all this technology, so I think our Alliance Driveway Kingdom Truck Sale Chevy pretty good. The first run, I had my left rear brake shut off where the left rear brake wasn't on, so it was pretty tight. And then we came in, moved it back, got the car driving pretty good. So we're just battling forward drive. We're battling the rain right now, so I don't have an umbrella, by the way.
I don't either.
Yeah, oh man, so we're both in the same.
You know who has an umbrella? Dylan Welch.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Yeah, he does. Look at him. The guys in the booth are covered too. So, hey, tomorrow's good. I think we'll start 19th. So, I'd rather qualify, but it is what it is. And looking forward to tomorrow. I can't wait to race. These JCR HFT Alliance cars have been fast, so I'm excited.
Concern if you're starting 19th at Martinsville.
Nah, I mean, it is what it is. What are we gonna do? We gotta go for it. And yeah, it's not ideal, but we can't control it, so it'll be fine. We'll battle the front, maybe play a little his strategy, I don't know. We'll let the crew chief make that call. He's way smarter than me. But like I said, I'm just excited. These cars since Phoenix on have been super fast. So it's my best shot at running up front.
I love the optimism, Dylan, and don't be surprised if Jeremy tries to come for your umbrella.
Well, I'm getting it from everywhere here. After I interviewed Raja, I turned around and he gave me a piece of gum. So my breath must stink in addition to, everything else that you guys are throwing at me here. So that's why I have this gum in my mouth right now. So I apologize, Harrison, if you need to take a step back or two. Talk about your car in practice and what you had and ultimately kind of what you're looking for here if we get back out here for the race tomorrow.
Yeah, honestly, really happy with our Dead on Tools Toyota GR Supra. I feel like overall, I fired off and was okay. I went out really early. I think the track was really dirty to start, so we didn't get that one lap speed, but in the long haul, I feel really good. Feel very similar to my car from last year where I sat on the pole. Just have a little bit more drive this year, so I didn't know if I was gonna qualify quite as good, but I felt like I would race as good. So I've been talking to these guys, trying to learn what their cars are doing and if we're off base or not. It's kind of a fun debrief after. It's like, are you guys doing this or fighting that? And hopefully we'll race good tomorrow. If we get it in tonight, go qualify good.
Asked Dean the same question earlier. You and him both run well at this racetrack. So how much are you guys emphasizing not only this one, but the next few weeks too? They're all good tracks for you specifically.
Yeah, for us, I think our race team's history, for myself personally, these next few really line up well for us. So, man, we've got to go take advantage of it. Really thankful for all of our partners and everyone at the race team for sticking with us. It's been probably the hardest start to a season I've ever had in my entire life, whether it's crashes, bad luck, or just bad runs that we can go execute better. But never lost faith in these guys. They haven't lost faith in me, and felt like this weekend was what we needed to go out and have a really good long-run car, have some confidence in our group, and go get after it tomorrow.
Good opportunity for sure for the 24 and 26. Harrison Kim is a former winner here back in 2020.
And Sammy Smith is a guy who finds Martinsville very optimistic. That's because you have 6 straight top 10s here at this track. What is it about the paperclip that suits you?
I think just kind of the more short track mentality. I grew up racing short tracks. And then whenever I first started around here with JGR, I kind of just clicked and was able to figure it out. And we've been able to be successful at JRM as well. So, yeah, I love this racetrack. I love the race. Hopefully we can go finally get a clock. I finished second, I think, 3 times now. So that's our goal Saturday.
What's going to be the difference maker to elevate you one spot and finally get the win here?
Well, I think it's just so tough with so many different circumstances, with flipping stages, taking stage points. There's a lot of fast cars, it seemed like in practice. Everyone was very close. I felt like our car was fast. I think we just need to make a couple adjustments. It's going to be cooler tomorrow, a different track condition. So overall, I think we just need to try to tune on it just a little bit, and we'll be up front.
All right, sounds like still some unanswered questions about what tomorrow's track conditions are going to bring, Dylan.
Cam, let's catch up with Brendan Poole. I've broken up the Luke Baldwin, Justin Allgaier, Harrison Burton debrief and got the last guy here. So what kind of things were you guys working through in practice, and how do you feel about tomorrow?
I feel pretty good. My car was a little free to start, which I think is a good thing. And
hold on a minute. Do you want an umbrella? Oh, look at that.
Wow.
What a guy. You know who doesn't have one? Kim, and she's been giving me a hard time about this all day. And now it's pouring, and we have an umbrella.
No, this is perfect. Dylan, you're just the class of the field today, I guess, at the broadcast booth. I don't know. I can't speak for you guys up there, but you're probably nice and comfortable. But yeah, my car was pretty good. I don't know. It was turned in the middle really good. Made some changes for some forward drive. Made a couple long runs at the end, and pretty happy with it. Lap times look pretty competitive. We've had a lot of good runs here in the past, so hopefully we can back up that 4th place finish from last year, but I'm feeling pretty good about it.
You guys always have some cool sponsors on your car. Who do you have on there this week?
This weekend we got Black's Island. It's awesome. It's off the coast of Florida. And yeah, looking for an awesome vacation spot. Check it out, blacksisland.com. They have a rum coming out. I'm going to the bottling party in June, so man, just awesome. And I'm grateful for their support. This is their 2nd race now. So Atlanta was going really good, and we cut a tire down right at the very end with 3 to go. So I don't know, maybe we can get it done tomorrow.
All right, well, you've given us boxes of candy, so we'll look for those bottles of rum as well coming up in a couple weeks. Thanks, Brennan.
Thanks, Dylan. And remind everyone how this works as we wait out the rain here. And we just got word that qualifying has been canceled. 6 cars got out, but because not everyone had a chance to run, Those laps mean nothing. We use the metric to determine the starting lineup. And that guy, Justin Allgaier, the man that won the championship a couple of years ago, last week's winner, will start on the pole here tomorrow. The rich get richer, right? A guy that scores stage points every week and is so good here, won here in 2023, will lead us to the green flag tomorrow afternoon, Dylan.
Yeah, let's step in here and grab Justin, finishing chatting with Brendan Poole, who we, of course, just spoke to. Hey, I know you get around this place well, but it's always nice to start up front, isn't it? How much of an advantage is that for tomorrow?
I don't even know, like, this is, normally this doesn't work out in my favor like this, so I'll take it. I am disappointed, though. I really wanted to get a lap in qualifying. You know, Andrew Overstreet and this whole 7 team did a really good job, and I felt like, you know, the lap time we showed in practice really didn't show, you know, the speed that we had in our Brent Fresh Agriculture Chevrolet. So, you know, we got a great starting spot. Obviously, you know, we already had a pretty good pit stall from selection from last week, so those are all positives, but you still got to execute. And I think this race is going to be fun but difficult, and I think that, you know, especially with what we're seeing right now with the rubber and how much was laid down, it's going to make for an interesting race tomorrow afternoon.
The last 3, I mean all year, but especially the last 3 weeks, you guys have really been solid. Are you and this 7 team as a whole as confident as you feel like you've maybe ever been?
Yeah, but I also don't want it to be a false confidence, right? I think that there's a lot of new in the O'Reilly Series this year. Not only a new name, right, but also, too, there's a lot of teams that have switched manufacturers, drivers, teams, crew chiefs. You know, we're in that same boat. You know, we've done a really good job, and I give Andrew a lot of credit, but really it's this whole 7 team. This whole winter we worked for that camaraderie and, you know, just how to be better together and you know, start the season off in a positive way. We've done that. And I think that we just have to keep building on that. You know, there's so many good teams, so many good cars. I mean, we've been lucky enough to win 2 out of the last 3, but there have been, you know, 10 cars that probably should have won at any given moment in any of those races. So, you know, I'm proud of the effort. We just, like I said, we have to execute. We have to do everything right all day, and if we do that, we'll have a great shot at it.
Well, nice lap. Justin Allgaier leads the field to green tomorrow here at Martinsville.
Easiest lap he's ever made in qualifying, and he will be the man on the pole when the green flag goes in the air. Here's the starting lineup for tomorrow.
Well, we see Joe Gibbs guys there. I think that this could be the weekend that maybe Junior Motorsports gets stopped. Gibbs has been so good here. Brent Cruz is going to be back with us for the rest of the year. Talked about Cory Day making that really long run as well, getting a good read on his car.
Retzloff, a virtue of a great run last week, is up there in the top 10. That feels nice. You got Sam Mayer up there. Lee Pulliam, first start, just outside the top 10. That's going to be nice. Hard part was done for him. I think he had speed to be up there anyway. We heard from Jeremy Clements. He said starting back there, not really a big problem, but you do want to be careful of some of those first corner incidents.
Two Sam Hunt guys on the right over there, Dean Thompson, Harrison Burton. We talked about how good they are. Austin Hill, who has won here, going to start deep in the field. I have to take it easy at the beginning with Luke Baldwin. You see down there inside of row 15, Austin Green as well. I think you mentioned Patrick Star-Poli having
16.5 average finish, best of any track.
Great stat.
He knows that because he finished 16th and 17th here.
It was hard to do.
You're sharp, you know that. Justin Carroll, Dawson Cram failed to qualify, and shotgun on the field, Ross Chastain. Something tells me whether it's strategy or just his maneuverability, he'll find his way into the conversation here tomorrow. Let's hear from Anthony Alfredo down to Kim.
Before we get to Anthony, I do want to note for Dylan, work smarter, not harder. I did acquire an umbrella, but I am making the driver hold it. So, Anthony Alfredo, with qualifying canceled, you will start 15th. I wanted to see you qualify, though, because you think back to what you and Joshua Graham were able to do in 2024, a front row starting spot for one of the Martinsville races. What was this car capable of, do you think?
Yeah, well, now I know why you told me to hold the umbrella, but I'm so bummed we didn't qualify. This Dude Wipes Menthol Extreme Chevrolet was really fast. Everyone at Viking Motorsports is doing a great job. And our short track program is probably our strong suit. We qualified 4th at Phoenix, and then being back with Josh Graham and having a similar setup that we qualified on the front row with in 24, and I think 7th in the spring race, had me optimistic for sure. But top 15's all right. We had excellent long run speed. We can get to the front from there. But man, these Menthol Extreme Dude Wipes, I was feeling the tingle. I felt like it was going to be a good lap for us. And we'll just have to wait to go fast tomorrow for 250 laps, and hopefully we end up at the front of the pack.
Guys, he's got some dude wipes he's sending back for you guys.
That's good. We'll take all the product we can get.
I don't put menthol and dude wipes in the same sentence. I don't feel
That's
like.
a lot
I don't know about that.
Really just.
That's a lot to digest.
Digest, yeah.
Hey, with qualifying rained out, I want to do a little trivia. Last time qualifying washed in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, who won the race?
I'm going to go with Kyle Busch because he's won 100 of them, so I got a shot.
Who?
Any ideas?
I'm
Who
trying
won?
to think when we
Who
last
got the checkered flag the last time?
There's no hints.
I'm going to get a hint here.
You can't have a hint.
Out last August.
Oh, no way. Well, I was never going to qualify anyway, so I didn't even know.
I can't believe you didn't know, honestly.
I didn't even have to worry about that weekend. I just showed up. They started the race without me, and we could hop in and, you know, just get the checkered flag. It was no big deal.
That's an exceptional race.
88 on the front row. That was the best part. Did you remember the soft hug?
Gentle hug.
I totally would have screwed that up. All Guy on the pole. More coming up next on CW.